So I've been living in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam now for a bit under 4 months. And when I first moved here, I was definitely overpaying in every single aspect. In the last couple of months, I've been able to significantly reduce my cost of living while actually improving my quality of life. So today I'll share with you what a realistic cost of living for myself looks like. And I want to go through different budgets and tiers as well. So if you want to live a more of a local lifestyle, I'll give you alternatives and recommendations. And if you want to live a higher, more luxury lifestyle, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to live that lifestyle whilst saving some money as well. Now, the first expense and the biggest expense is probably going to be rent for accommodation. Now, when I first moved here, I was staying in Thao Dinh. I was actually renting through Airbnb just to dip my toes into the market and see if I actually liked that area. I did somewhat like the area, however, it was a little bit, actually it was way too much for me, to be honest. It was around about 15 million a month as a single male and not too fussed on the neighborhood that I'm in. I just wanted peaceful neighborhood. That's honestly the main thing, and close to the city. Thao Dinh unfortunately didn't offer that peaceful lifestyle, at least the street that I was on, so I've actually moved into District 3. I've got a video about my apartment hunting. You can find the link up here. Go ahead and watch that. I give you in-depth details and tips and tricks and also a little bit of entertainment about how I found my apartment. I ended up renting this place for 9.6 million a month, which I think is a very reasonable price. Studio apartment, it's got a balcony, it's off a main road, but in a small little alleyway, which is very, very peaceful. When you go to rent, you're probably going to have water fees and management or service fees, depending on what kind of housing that you want to rent. However, for me, I was able to negotiate and get included the water. So water was originally 100,000 and I was managed to get that included into my deal, and also management and service fees. That was supposed to be around about 200K a month, and that's around about on average what it should be for renting accommodation. There's always a little bit of give and take, but 200,000, once again, I managed to get that included during the negotiations for renting this apartment. Internet also included. I have my own personal modem. Some places that's something you might want to discuss because sometimes it might be shared on a floor. I have this entire room, this entire floor to myself, which is great for noise control and also having my own internet. I do also have laundry. So if you want to go on a rent apartment, I suggest trying to find a place with a washer and dryer. I have that included. Otherwise, if you don't have those facilities, you're probably going to do what a lot of tourists do, which is find laundromats and have to go in and pay a certain amount per kilo in order to get your things and clothes washed. But normally, if you're going to rent accommodation, apartments, condominiums, they should have that included. Electricity, that's the only real additional fee outside of my monthly rent that I have to pay. This is off the back of April, which is a super hot season. I was probably paying about 1.2 million for that month. And that's because I love to have my air conditioning on pretty much entire time when I sleep, and during the day, especially early mornings, afternoons, practically all day to be honest. I'm going to expect that to absolutely decrease as we get into the rainy season, which is already starting in May, June, July, August, September, around about 5-6 months worth of rainy season. So the weather should be reduced significantly in terms of heat and temperature. So I assume that the electricity bill should drop in turn as well. On electricity as well, they generally charge based off per watt. So I pay 4,000 Vietnamese dong per watt. Some places might be cheaper on the 3,000, and the most I've ever seen it for like an apartment renting would be 4.5. So 4,000 is on average what you'll be charged. If you're looking to rent in Ho Chi Minh City, there are a bunch of districts and sort of neighborhoods that I would recommend. I've managed to decipher the rough rates for a one-bedroom apartment in the most popular districts here in Ho Chi Minh City. The most popular district out of that list are definitely 1, 2, 3, 7, Cung Nhơn, and Binh Thanh. Districts 4, 5, and 10, there are a lot more local, which means it can be quite chaotic, and that puts some people off. But if you're on a budget, those are great options. Now, Ho Chi Minh City has a bunch of districts within it. Those are just the main ones, probably the closest one within the city center. You could actually stay even further out. That's where a lot of the locals live. Cost of living is probably even cheaper out there if you were to move out there. I'm going to touch on phone plans now. An alternative option is an eSIM, but if you're living here long term, eSIM are not the way to go. With eSIMs, you don't get a phone number, and you do need that in Vietnam in order to use main applications like a Shopee, a Lazada, so think Amazon for those, or Grab, which is like the Uber, the equivalent to Uber. So if you want to be able to call a taxi, be able to call a motorbike, you'll definitely need a phone number. The number one provider in Vietnam is Viettel. It has the best overall coverage. I pay 150,000 a month. That's for 6 gigs of data a day. You personally probably won't need that much, but because I do a lot of social media, content creation, I do sometimes work solely off my phone, and I'm not always at a cafe. I might be out just using it and scrolling, or if I want a hotspot to my laptop when I'm out and about, not at a cafe, that helps as well, having so much gigs. So me paying 150,000 for 6 gigs of data a day, calls and text included as well, you could definitely get that rate even lower. You might only need 1 gig or 2 gigs a day at max because it restarts every single day. And the other recommendation a lot of locals use is Mobi phone. You could get like 3 to 5 gigs for 100,000 a month, which is ridiculous, or even cheaper the longer you go. And some plans with Mobi phone, even the data rolls over. So you could be accumulating. If you get 3 gigs and you don't use 3 gigs in a day, that might roll over to the next day. So they've got a little bit of flexibility on that. However, there is slightly less consistent speeds than Viettel. Best places on where to buy SIM cards, try and avoid the airport as much as possible. However, you may need it for like at least a day. So if you need to, try and get a SIM card for very, very short term and then go to one of these stores in order to get an actual SIM. Now, the best places to go is Gio Di Dong. I've butchered that ridiculously, but they're reliable. They've got English-speaking staff. They should be across the city center. Or what I did was I just actually went to the official carrier store. So I purchased mine at Viettel. I just brought my passport to register the SIM, make sure it's under my name, and then I just paid them for 3 months up front. And then I said, I'll come back, and if I'm definitely staying here, I'll just pay maybe for a year. You can pay whatever months you want or in the entire year up front. Another huge expense is probably going to be groceries. Now, I will preface this with, if you come to Vietnam, you could probably live off street food, and street food could cost anywhere from $2 to $3 a meal. My monthly groceries for this past month has been 1.7 million. I love health and fitness, so I'm eating sort of like bodybuilder type meals, which is literally just rice, chicken, eggs, and vegetables. And then along with groceries, I haven't included like household essentials. If I need to go out and buy like washing detergent, toothbrush, toothpaste. I spent around about 250,000 all of these things. So very, very affordable. Some recommendations and alternatives on where to go and shop for groceries. Number one is Winmart. This is where I was personally shopping when I first moved here when I was staying in Thao Ding. There was a shopping mall that this was located in. Most of the big Winmarts are located in shopping malls. However, you will find locations all over the city from small formats, almost like convenience store type formats, to large formats like the ones that I was shopping at in Thao Ding. You've got local produce, snacks, household essentials, some international products as well, but they're great for everyday basic needs. My personal favorite is actually Co-op Mart, and this is where I've been shopping for the last month now since I've been in District 3. These are essentially major supermarket chains in Ho Chi Minh City. We've got local and international brands, decent quality meat and produce. These are great for toiletries, household items, bulk items. Some locations have better selections than others. I go to one of the main ones. If you go to a smaller one, you might not have as much variety as the one that I go to. I find it to be actually cheaper than Winmart. The chicken that I buy is a lot cheaper. The veggies that I buy seem cheaper as well. So Winmart might be a little bit more of a higher expense than a Co-op Mart. If you're craving international products, is Annam Gourmet. The locations are in District 1, District 2, Thao Ding, and also Phu My Hung, which is in District 7. So essentially where majority of the expats live. Essentially they're premium grocery stores focused on Western imports. You get high quality meats, cheeses, pasta, wines. You can even get gluten-free or organic options as well. This is very, very expensive. It's probably comparable to the West, but if you're really missing it, go to one of these stores. You're missing like a snack from your home country, or you've got specialty diets that you might need gluten-free products, etc. This is a good option. However, if you need quick snacks, drinks, or like toiletries, Vietnam does have a lot of convenience stores. They're basically on every single corner. Family Mart, Circle K, 7-Eleven, GS25, Mini Stop. There's essentially a wide variety of these stores. However, if you want the ultimate cheap place to go. You probably want to go to like local markets, local wet markets. Cheap is for fruits, veggies, meat as well. Obviously it's a market, everything is just laid out in front for you. For the majority of the locals here in Vietnam, they're probably going to a chợ, and a chợ is essentially a market. Now if you do want to go to one of these markets, they're basically in every single neighborhood. I would search up chợ and then also the district name that you're in or the area. Go and search that. A bunch of options should come up. The next one is my second highest expense. And I don't know if I'm sad about that. For the last month, I paid 6 million on eating out and going out. In comparison to my groceries are 1.7 million. So if I didn't go out to eat at all, I could be saving so much more money. For the last month, I've been going out on a bunch of dates. I've been a lot more social than I've ever been in my life, going to events. And then I've been spending a good amount on Grab food delivery as well. Just the convenience and how cheap it is to order food. Like out in the West, to look at the delivery fee might be like $15. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna sit at home and make some eggs. Whereas here, I'm like, the delivery fee is like $1. And sometimes you get a special and discount offers, so you save even more money. I'm just like, all right, yeah, just let me get this, let me get that. So on the screen, I'm gonna pop up some places that I regularly eat out at or do Grab food delivery. Banh Mi 362, this is my favorite banh mi spot. If I'm craving sushi, I'll go to Sushi Haru. I love Lao Bo, so hot pot. There's Lao Bo Nhà Go. Dragon Hot Pot has recently opened up here as well. Lao Bo Jiu, which is like a Chinese Sichuan style hot pot that's really good as well. Korean barbecue, I love Machindul barbecue. I'm craving Japanese food in Japantown. There's Dorisho. I love chicken wings, so One Wing Saigon in Tao Ding is really good. Jimmy's New York pizza, that's the best style of New York pizza I've had in Vietnam. It's very hard to get decent quality pizza, but I like theirs. And then Philippines barbecue in Tao Ding is really good as well. So those are some spots that I like to go out for date nights or like Grab food delivery. Something else that actually tallies up here is coffee and beverages, okay? Vietnam is like a beverage society. There's so much different kinds of beverages. I might drink 5 coffees in a week, and then if I'm going out with friends, I might get things like Roma or Chai Vai. And my go-to coffee joint is Highlands. I get a Café Đen, which is black coffee with no sugar. If you like black coffee, make sure you say Không Đường, which is no sugar, because here they will put sugar in your black coffee, which it will be weird coming from the West. But Highlands is my go-to spot because I really enjoy their coffee, and it's like a franchise. I guess it's similar to like a Starbucks out in the West where they have multiple branches. And the great thing is the coffee is always consistent. But some other cafes that I do recommend, I'll put them up on the screen. You've got Yam Coffee, 1007 Cafe, Dolphy Cafe. This little place where I was going to, Tiwi B, when I was living in Tao Dinh, they've got incredible croissants and baguettes. Otherwise, Kong Cafe, I really like as well. They've got incredible coconut coffee. It might be the best in the country. Dulam Roasters, Su Cafe, The Simple Cafe, Workflow Space, Hai Ba Chung, AP Cafe. The next two are really more fancy, Sophie in District 7, or Oasis Cafe as well. This is just some recommendations that I have either personally been to or on my to-go list. 35K a day, so I'm probably spending about $1 million just on beverages like coffee and other stuff as well in a month. If I was to completely get rid of that and just stick to water, which is the next expense, I'll be saving so much more money as well. When I first moved to Vietnam, I was a typical tourist buying those 1.5 liter waters, and on average they're about 10,000. And I drink 1, if not 2 of those a day. And then I slowly evolved and I moved on to the big ass 5 liter ones, which on average they're about 30K. Those 5 liters lasted me like 2.5, 3 days max. And now I've switched on to proper local vibes. I've gone and purchased the bigger, the big water jugs. 20 liters only costs you 42,000. I'm using Aquacall. It's a website. You can literally just message them on Zalo, WhatsApp, and they will come and deliver the water to you, and you can just pay cash on hand. So in a month, with this switching out to the 20 liter, I'm probably spending about 252,000. Something very important to think about, and something that I've been guilty myself of overlooking, and that's your health and safety whilst traveling or living abroad. I know a lot of travelers who actually don't have any travel medical insurance. Most of the time, they don't think that they need it until they do. Personally, I like to err on the side of caution. Ever since I've started traveling back in 2023 for YouTube, content creation, I've been using Safety Wing. I personally use their Nomad Insurance Essential Plan, which covers unexpected injuries, illnesses, hospital visits, loss of luggage, trip interruptions, and so much more. And I've used other travel insurance providers before, but I honestly just found them to be a little bit too much of a hassle. But Safety Wing keeps it so simple. I can literally get covered within 5 minutes, right before I fly out to another country. I'm going to quickly show you how I set up mine. So currently I'm in Vietnam living long term. I'm going to go ahead and get the Essentials plan. And what I love is the rolling subscription model. It gives me total flexibility whilst I travel, and it covers me up into 180 countries. So if I want to deviate from Vietnam and go to another country, I can just choose that country, add it into the coverage, and then cancel whenever I don't need it. Now this does cost me 1.46 million a month. However, that peace of mind that it gives me, it's definitely worth it. Now the Essential plan is perfect for me. I'm going to be here for at a minimum 6 months before I need to do a little visa run. But if you're living abroad indefinitely in Vietnam or any country in general, to be honest, Safety Wing does have a complete plan. And this might be an even better fit for you. This includes routine medical care, mental health support, major treatments, and even covers things like burglary. If safety whilst traveling and living abroad is a priority for you, there's a QR code in the corner or some links in the description below as well. Make sure you stay safe while you travel, guys. On the note of staying healthy, staying safe, staying physically active comes to gyms, okay? Now, gyms in Vietnam can be like the Wild West. I won't lie. When I first moved to Vietnam, I went to Elite Fitness, Ho Chi Minh City in Thao Dinh. I paid like 3 million for 2 months. It did have a swimming pool, it did have a sauna, it was air conditioning, and it was in like a shopping mall. So I could understand the potential reasoning. I guess I just go and compare it to the West or Australia, where I'm from, where I can get so much more value at a cheaper rate. They do say gyms in Vietnam are essentially a luxury. So if you're at a gym, you probably have a little bit more of a disposable income than the average local. With that said, the gyms can range from ridiculously expensive for premium luxury gyms to dirt cheap gyms with no air conditioning. But if you want to live here long term, at least 6 months at a minimum, you want to go to a decent gym, good facilities, personal lockers, filtered water, showers, air conditioning, as it gets damn hot here in Vietnam. I found a gym called The New Gym. And if you Google The New Gym, there's a lot of bad reviews. It's like under 4 stars. When I went into the gym and I checked the gym out and I slowly gathered why it's got such bad reviews, a lot of gyms put down fake reviews. Restaurants do the same. So The New Gym has such bad reviews. But when I went in there, the gym that I'm at, 4 stories, personal showers, personal lockers. The second story is all cardio. There's like at least 30 pieces of cardio equipment, filtered water as well, so free. And then the next level, you've got all the machines. So you've got your chest, your triceps, your back machines, your leg machines, everything. Next level, you've got your own women's facilities and also a functional area. And then the very top right is all the free weights, dumbbells, barbells, bench presses, Smith machines, leg presses, hack squats. This gym has everything. And the biggest thing is they have no sales team. Majority of the gyms you're going to go to, especially the nicer brand ones, they're going to have a sales assistant. You're going to come in and you're going to have to sit down with them or make an appointment, and they're going to whip out a piece of paper. They're going to start at the highest price and then say that they're going to give you a discount. The gym's going to be 30 million for the year, but you know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give it to you for 20 million. So they'll play with your emotions. I personally recommend The New Gym. I signed up for 12 months, a fully air conditioning gym, 4 stories with every single amenities that you need outside of a sauna and a swimming pool if you like those. But I paid 2,990,000 for the entire year. And the best thing is, because I'm on this year plan, they've got multiple franchises. So I can pick up and choose and go to any franchise in the city. So I recommend The New Gym and a couple others that I have friends that go to, City Gym and California Fitness. Good gyms, air conditioned, but I believe with City Gym and California, they have sales assistants or sales consultants, so you want to negotiate. Another big expense is transportation. When I first moved here, I was exclusively either using Grab, also catching the train when I was in Thao Dinh. A little tip is, if you want to use Grab for food delivery or transportation, I am so stupid. I've only recently learned that one, they have a membership where you can pay, I think it's like 50,000 a month and get consistent savings. I have a friend of mine, over the last year, she's saved like 5 million on transportation and food just from signing up to the Grab membership. I didn't even know that existed, so that's something I've got to get on. And then also, when you go to check out and order a Grab or order food, at the bottom, there's like an offers button. Make sure you go to offers, and most of the time there'll be like yamya, which yamya means like discount. So make sure you click as many as possible that the app allows you to save even more. So those are some good options for Grab as well. I wanted to touch on quickly. But recently, now that I actually have rented a motorbike or a scooter, I guess you'd say, I'm paying 1.5 million a month for the scooter because I'm basically using it every day, whether it be going to the gym or going out to social events or just driving around the city in general. I'm saving definitely a couple million than if I was to be actually ordering Grabs and taxis of that nature. I've only ever rented bikes in Ho Chi Minh City from 2 places, so I'm just going to recommend those 2. Last year when I did my Saigon to Hanoi road trip, I rented my bike through Tidget Motorbikes. They're like for adventure bikes. What I went to for like my city bike, my scooter here in Ho Chi Minh City is Top Notch Motorbikes. They're a little bit more of a rundown store, but fantastic reviews. The owner is an incredible guy. The staff there are incredible as well. And that's probably one of the cheapest bikes I've found. Now, another one I've heard personally is DC Motorbikes. They're a bit more of the mid-range bikes, great quality bikes, a little bit more expensive. So I no longer take Grab. I literally just pay 1.5 million a month for the bike, but petrol is something that you're gonna need to pay for if you're renting a bike. I personally pay around about 60,000 for a full tank, and I probably fill up each week. So in a month, I'm probably spending about 240K on petrol. If I was to catch a Grab for a night out, it might cost me 30,000 to get into the city in District 1 and then 30,000 back, and that's 60K already. So it makes so much more sense to have your own bike where 60,000 for a full tank lasts you at least an entire week. If you simply go into Google Maps and you search in gas station or petrol station, a whole bunch will come up. They're obviously all over the city. What I personally always try and look out for is Petrol. That's the most trusted and widespread brand in Vietnam. You'll find them literally all over the entire country. Next is haircuts. I get a haircut on average probably 3 to 4 weeks. Because I'm on camera, I like to have a little fresh little fade. And I'll be honest, going to a new country, having to find a new barber, especially for guys, can be a very daunting thing. You don't want to go in and get your hair messed up and have to look for another barber. So if you can find a good barber, try and stick with them. Because there are a hell of a lot of barbershops. Some of these guys are learning on the job. So if you want to find a proper experienced barber, it can take a little bit of effort. I personally pay 150K for a haircut. I wouldn't say this is the best haircut I've ever had. It's definitely in the upper echelon, but because I get my haircut so regularly, I try and find a cheaper alternative. The place I personally go to is called 4RAU Barbershop. There's a few franchises within the city. I pay 100,000 for the haircut, and then it's 50,000 tip, which I choose to give. You don't have to give a tip to the barber, but my barber, she does a fantastic job. And she's cute, so I give her 50,000. Another really good one that I've been to before is Dong Tay Barbershops. There's like plenty, there's heaps. Just search them up online and there's heaps of like franchises within the city. Something else that people don't really mention as part of cost of living, and everyone has these are subscriptions. For me, I'm spending about 2.2 million on subscriptions or bills that I still have existing. So for work, I use things like Canva, Google Workspace. I still pay for some bills back in Australia, and I'm also paying for a VPN. A VPN can come in handy in Vietnam. Some of the websites here are blocked. Things like Reddit, I found out that's blocked. I have to use my VPN, or if I want to look for like cheaper flights, and sometimes VPNing to another country, a cheaper country helps as well. Something people don't mention here often is supplementation. Like I personally use magnesium a lot. The older we get, the more we lose magnesium, and I go to the gym a lot as well, so magnesium helps. And also fish oil. I didn't get too much like omega-3s for my diet, so I like to supplement with that. I buy all this stuff online as well, guys. An application you want to download is Shopee or Lazada. They're essentially Amazon, so if you download those, you can get ridiculously cheap things online. On a month basis, I'm spending about 250K on supplementation. My last expense that I have as well is massages. I love getting a massage, okay? And I get one at least once a month. I found myself paying on average 450,000 a month for a massage. Generally 450,000, that's like inclusive of tip. However, these places can be hit and miss here in Vietnam. Something that I've learned, some of the people I get I feel like they're learning on the job. And a lot of these massage parlors and spas that you go to, even barbershops, they actually incentivize the consumer or the customer to leave a 5-star review. Half of these places I've been to, after you get a massage, they'll ask you, how was it? Can you leave 5 stars? Oh, we can give you a 10% discount, or we can give you like free like soaps, scented candles, things like that, just to get you to leave a 5-star review. So a lot of these places might be way too hyped because of that. But a good place that I would suggest if you're a male and you want like a legit barbershop experience, I like Jade 007. They're all over YouTube. They will give you an e-clean, they'll cut your nails, they'll shave your beard, and they'll give you a massage as well. However, something that I've been put onto recently from my partner is blind massages. And no, you're not blind, the masseuse is blind. So there's a lot of these here, and I've got one before and I remember it being really good. The thing is with these blind masseuse, one, I think it's so cool that they can actually have a job and earn some money for their living. But the other one is these blind masseuse, they have to learn their trade. They have to learn their craft. Whereas some of the spas and massage parlors I go to, I feel like one, they're probably not licensed, they're not trained, probably they're learning on the go. So when you go to a blind masseuse, this is what I've been told from my partner, she's like, they are trained, they know exactly what knots to get into, they know every single crevice on your body and know how to massage you properly. So I actually might be switching out to them very shortly for my next massage, and they're like 200 to 250,000. So it's even cheaper. You can tip them obviously as well, tip them like 50, 100,000, 150,000. That still works out cheaper than some of these premium spas and massage parlors that aren't that good. Do yourself a favor, go and check out these blind masseuses, help them out, help them earn a living while saving some money. Or if you find a really good massage parlor like Mum Gal Spa, they are very good in District 2. I highly recommend them if you want like a good spa experience. So my total expenses for the last month comes out to 27,352,000. Let's say there's a little bit of wiggle room. I'm going to round it up to 28 million just to be safe, which is 1,078 USD, 1,673 AUD. I'm getting a fantastic quality of life, massages, going out, essentially doing everything that I enjoy in life for a bit over 1,000 USD. I'm going to give you a monthly breakdown that I think is applicable to 3 different categories. I consider myself as that middle bracket, that average expat spending about a bit over 1,000 USD for a great quality of life. If you're a backpacker or you want to live like bare means, bare essentials, like my friend Tommy, he's been here for almost a year and he spends like half of what I spend. He spends around about 600 USD a month. And he's told me his lifestyle, and it's literally bare means, bare essential. He lives out in District 10, paying dirt cheap for accommodation because that's super, super local. He eats at least 2 meals a day, and that's like street food, sometimes 1 meal a day. You know, he doesn't really do anything, doesn't go to the gym, so he's not as hungry, doesn't really walk outside, doesn't sweat. So 1 to 2 meals a day, plus maybe a drink. So he's spending like $2, $3 for a meal each, and then $2, $3 for a drink. That's like $9 at most a day as well. Doesn't have a motorbike, walks to most places or just catches grabs, but still is able to enjoy life and go out. I see this guy like 2-3 times a week, always going out, but he doesn't spend money on stuff he doesn't need, doesn't go shopping. I've got friends here as well who live that luxury lifestyle, who love to go out clubbing, who love to KTVs, who love to take women out for like multiple dates a week and just like that drinking, that party lifestyle. They live in sky-rise buildings, condominiums in Taoding District 2, just live in that baller lifestyle. A baller lifestyle, you might have like 25 million for a 2-bedroom apartment. You're eating international food. Like I was having a conversation with a friend and he's like, he probably spends between 1,800 to 2,000 USD a month for living that lifestyle. Your money still goes such a long way here. So 600 for a budget lifestyle, for an average lifestyle maybe 1,200, and for that baller lifestyle at a minimum 1,800. I couldn't fathom doing that out in the West. You're looking at least minimum double that. So that is what I would budget for. That is my recommendations, my alternatives for different lifestyles and where to shop. Hopefully that's helped you guys a lot as well. And a big thing, stay safe while you're traveling. You don't know when you might lose your stuff. You don't know if your place is going to get broken into. You don't know if you're going to need a hospital. So stay safe with Safety Wing. Here is a video on the pros and cons of living in Vietnam, specifically Ho Chi Minh City. If you're thinking about moving out here,